Hey everybody, Lorne, how you doing? In the house. Starting later, I want to see if I get some more people after work. Don't have to pick up the little lady because she's off. So, Mercer, how you doing, guys? Yo, CL, how you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna be doing some later stuff, and I'm well this week, anyways. And next week, and tonight I'm going to be on with Peyton. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on doing the Montreal game. I may even do the Carolina game, Lauren. We'll see. The game after that against Columbus. Is there no Canes Columbus game now? Has it been canceled as well? Oh, it was the Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So I guess the big story is Canes. I was saying that I thought it was pretty likely that teams will be lining up for Kane, and it seems like they are lining up for Kane. Yeah, there's quite a few games tonight. We'll be doing. We'll do our little prediction thing. I think. I don't know. The thing about the prediction thing I find is tough is I got to find a way. Like if we like give out something at the end of the month, by the time new people come in, they kind of feel like they're out of place on it because they're like, well, I can't do anything now and stuff like that. But we'll see. I still need more predictions on my short that I did. I need more people saying yes. I got 2 likes and 2 yeses. No, I'm not with you on that, Oilers, man. I'm all over it. They can sign Kane. I don't what do I know what Kane is? Kane went through rehab. If he went through rehab and he's changed and it can totally change the person, man. Totally. And if he is if that has happened with him, and I imagine they're going to be taking a good look to see if that has happened, I'm all over it. For $1.5 million, $2 million to have him playing with freaking McDavid, that would be insane, dude. And it's not really what they need, but at this point, we're not going to be able to help our defense, I don't think, anyways. Just outscore the crap out of everybody, I guess. That's. But there's no chance. You're only doing 1 year. Well, when him and I are doing that tomorrow, we'll talk about that. I it's easier for me because I'm a guy that needed chances. Let me put it that way. So, uh, I got to see firsthand what it means to get chances and people change their lives around. I've also seen them not too, but you're talking about a 1 year deal, and if it's not panning out, like $1.5 to 2 million, something like that. If it doesn't pan out by the end of the year, you just say, okay, sorry, not working out. And if he does anything stupid, then you just nix the contract. What's that about? Clark clarified everything you thought of Hextall. I didn't hear about that. Hey, Ulysses, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about Kaner. I also, if you want to, I asked a question if you would accept Kane on one of my shorts there. Go check it out. Comment down there on the bottom. Help the channel out. That would be great. Any comments you can do in the comment section, I'll talk back to you for sure. No doubt about it. Really helps the channel out. Smashing the like button like it looks like all of you are doing. Him on draft day and his attitude, really. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that. Let's put it this way, man. I mean, Clark hasn't been known for his attitude either. So, and you're throwing a guy under the bus without him being there in the media. what's like? I'm not saying you're right or wrong, CL, but whatever. I mean, maybe Hextall. I'm not you. I'm talking about. I don't know if Clark may be right or wrong, but I think it's a pretty poor time to be talking crap about a dude that got fired from your organization. I mean, you might want to look at your own character if you're doing something like that. Maybe call the guy up, say, that just seems kind of slimy to me, dude. I don't know. I haven't read it yet or what happened, but Hexall said no to the team scouts and Bobby Clark. Okay. All sorts of could-haves. Yeah. See, now here's a good example. See, you're bringing up a good example. Hextall might have this attitude problem, as you're saying, but Clark seems to have an attitude problem too. So this is your leadership here. You've got guys backstabbing each other and crap and, not on the same page. Whose fault is that? Who hired all of them? Really? Find out who that is and maybe you'll fix your problem. There's a good one to talk about, Ulysses. I'm like, sports players being role models. Yeah, I mean, should it be on their responsibility to do that? No matter what you say, they are to a certain extent, but the unfortunate thing is that has to be the case. Like, I mean, I wouldn't bring up my children to idolize sports figures or anybody of that matter as far as, being any different than anyone else myself. But unfortunately, that is the case out there, and a sports person is a role model kind of whether they like it or not. Like, you can't really take that away. So, the sun's going right in my freaking eyes. I can't fix it. You can't really take that away. That being said, how much of a responsibility do they have to be a role model? I think it's a little outrageous to think that a sports figure is not going to have a gambling problem. Anyways, the fact of the matter is, Kaner has an opportunity right now to show that you can come back from stuff like this. If you're just going to throw people under the bus because, look at, like, the Oilers are the team that are talking to Kane, seems quite a bit. And I would say, by the sounds of what Holland the way he was talking in his interview today, I would say it's pretty likely he's going to become an Oiler. And it makes sense because what better way to come back and pad your stats and get that contract back again than come and play with McDavid, right? It makes sense from his perspective. Yeah, I mean, I don't recommend it, but the fact of the matter is, there are young people out there that look at that have very poor role models in their life, apparently, and look upon people like that. They unfortunately take them a little too close to heart and become like them. Like, if I did stand-up comedy when I was younger and stuff like that. And I looked up to a lot of comedians, right? Now, a lot of comedians drink and all that kind of stuff like that. And it seems like quite often that some people will take on the role of that. A good example is a guy from Saturday Night Live, Chris Farley. He was a huge, huge fan of Belushi and did all the things that Belushi did, right? So, well, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying it should be the case. I think ultimately, I would definitely tell any young person out there that, I mean, how, be your own role model and live your life. Find out what you love, live your life in your dreams, and you know, I think if you do that, you're going to stay away from the things that are going to diffuse your dreams. So that would be my first thing. Be your own role model. But I mean, not everybody's ears hears this stuff. So yeah, he lies. I mean, like you said, Lauren, you're not going to hear much from me. If we're gonna, I can't throw stones at anybody. I am the last person to throw stones at anybody. If you're going to throw stones at Kane, you better throw them at me too, because there's probably nothing, very little that Kane's done that I haven't did equally is not good, not stone worthy. So I can't really say. I can't throw stones at anybody. I don't know the situation and what they have going on there with, him going on the plane to Vancouver. I don't know what that whole situation is. He apparently he says he got an okay from the AHL team. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he just realized, well, it's probably best for me to get out of here no matter what. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm not going to say anything to that. I'll leave that up to the people that make the decision to sign him or not sign him. Wow, 24 games to the trade deadline, and he needs 25 to get 1,000 games. Yeah. Is his contract up this year? Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I don't know. I certainly got a forest in mind, dude. So I am not gonna go anything to anybody for sure. I don't think Josh Manson's getting traded. I think it sounds like the Oilers are the team that's going to give it a shot. They've been known to give players a shot. Cassian, look at good example. Cassian did a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, Craig McTavish killed someone drinking and driving. So if I know one thing, like Lawrence says, he's a liar. If you're an addict, you're a liar. There's no doubt about it. If you're an addict, you're a liar. So does that mean you're always a liar? No, doesn't mean that at all. It just means that if there isn't an addict out there that isn't lying. I shouldn't say that. Maybe there is, but very, 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 very high percentage. A puzzle buyout? Maybe. Yeah, Shane Wright, ever since he got back to junior from the World Juniors, is starting to put him away again. Starting to put up some numbers. Yeah, it's definitely a mental illness for sure. Slaving with COVID again, yeah. but not having to play right away, so he might be back sooner than we think. Louis Eriksson not playing right now. Did Louis Eriksson ever actually play? He suited up on with skates on the ice, but questionable whether you could say he was playing hockey. I'd say that's very questionable. I mean, maybe at one time, back in his Dallas days, maybe a few days in Boston. But so Jack Eichel was on the ice practicing today for the Vegas Golden Knights. Not even 2 months since undergoing artificial disc replacement surgery. Eichel was given a 3-month recovery timeline. Said he feels like everything is going well. The recovery is completely pretty smooth. I was pretty fortunate to be hands of Dr. Mark Lindsay, and I just let him do what he does best. We had a good plan all along, and knock on wood, there weren't any setbacks. It felt like the first few weeks I was getting used to how I felt. The next few weeks I was okay, and I'm starting to feel better. The last few weeks I feel really good now and basically feel back to normal. So Eichel is back and ready to go. Eichel's back and ready to go. So apparently with Pacioretty being injured, they don't have any cap problems right now. And maybe somebody might have to be traded, but it looks like they're going to be fine. Yeah, to be that. Imagine being that shit at your job and still get paid. Yeah. Chychrun to the Edmonton Oilers. They won't give up their first-round pick, and I think they're nuts. Jay, is that Bouwmeester that's done for the year for Arizona? Jay who? No, the Oilers Lightning game is on tonight. Or not the Oilers, Tampa Bay Buffalo, I should say. Oilers in Buffalo. Is that a Freudian slip? The Oilers are as bad as the Buffalo Sabres. But I think Kane's going to end up in Edmonton, and I'm really hoping he rocks it. I really do. For his sake, it would be a great story to see a guy come back from that terrible addiction of gambling. I heard people talking about it when I was in rehab and stuff, and oh my gosh, the amount of money you hear people like, it is unbelievable. And the story, how they just can't stop no matter what they do. They don't want to go, like, just like anything else. It was unbelievable. So I sure hope that I hope he turns it around. Ottawa game, the Flyers game is postponed tonight. Anyone new in on Chychrun? From what I haven't heard much. When I did those Chychrun trade videos, and everybody laughed at me for what I said the return was going to be, and that's pretty much what the return is. What they're wanting, anyways. They want something like what the Eichel deal was: a young player that can play now, a good prospect, a first-round pick, and what else was there? It was like 4 pieces. So that's, ever since then, people have gotten a little quiet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to turn around. Somebody's going to pay that for Chychrun, no doubt about it. I gotta see something. Do I got this on private or something? It does. Every time I go to look at it, it doesn't. Did this show up in your list? All right, I gotta edit my settings here, I think. Yeah, it's public. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing up. NHL video tribute should be a thing. Oh, yeah, I guess. What do you think? Do you guys like? I like the tribute. I think it's pretty cool. I know that coaches like Tortorella don't wish it was a thing. Coaches like Tortorella hate him. He doesn't like. He wants his team to hate the opposition regardless who's on it. And you know what? You can say what you want about Tortorella. The Vegas Golden Knights showed us why you want to hate the opposition no matter who is on it. That game, it was quite obvious that the steam was out of the Vegas against Chicago with Fleury. It was quite obvious that the steam was out of their legs against Fleury. It was almost like they felt bad if they were going to win that game. And that's the reason why Tortorella can't stand people like tapping each other's pads to the other team. You want to do that off the ice. And I kind of agree with him in a way. Like, I want players on my team that when like that whole situation that happened with Fleury and Fleury's in Chicago. So, I don't know. I say I agree with tributes, but on another way, I don't like it. Because if I'm a coach, I don't want to tribute somebody on the other freaking team. I don't want to do that. I don't want to tap my stick for the other guy and the other team. I don't care if you played 10 years in our organization or not. I want you to hate him. For that hour and a half you're on the ice, I want you to hate that guy. Not tap your stick and say, oh, good for you. Yeah. You know, I know Tortorella would wish that they didn't tap their sticks. And everybody would say, well, that's so disrespectful. No, man. Being on the ice is different than being off the ice. This is one place where I think Tortorella and I agree. When you get on the ice and you're playing, you're supposed to literally like hate the other team in competitive hate. A competitive hate, not a deep emotional hate. You know what I'm talking about. A competitive hate for the other team. And tapping your stick because some guy played for you on the other side and stuff like that, it's just a bad energy. I think it's great as a fan to do tributes like that. But if I was a coach, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. Boston Bruins a better team with Rask. I don't know. We'll see how he's going to play. Fleury got 2 tributes. So there you go. See, and if you saw that game, Chicago played like absolute poop. And when they did shoot, it's sort like it doesn't even have to be a tribute like that, especially with goaltenders. For some reason, a goaltender like Grubauer, even against Colorado, played really good, made it close. Right? When goaltenders go back to their old teams, here's the goaltender. They want to win against their old team. Meanwhile, the people on the other side are like all lovey-dovey with the freaking goaltender on the other. No. I want to embarrass that old guy, teammate that I ever had. Now, that doesn't mean like literally like embarrass him and his family, but in a fun, competitive way. You want to embarrass the other side. You want to knock them off, man. for no reason do you get emotionally involved with the opposition in a way that's like, oh, wow, that's so nice. No, it's not nice. We're going to drop the puck and we're going to beat the shit out of them. That's what I think. That's what I want that on my team. That's why I love Brady Tkachuk. Do you think Brady Tkachuk wouldn't fight his brother in Calgary, Ottawa, and it came down to it? You know how many times they probably fought when in their homes? Lots. Like, he's not going to be, he would fight his brother. Like, those are the players that I've always loved. They don't care that I played for you for 10 years. I'm going to drop them with you. I don't care. I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Afterwards, if you want to go for pizza or whatever, great. But when I'm on the ice, I hate you. So, do you guys agree with that? That was a good question, man. About, because I that was a really good question. Do I like tributes? That was a really good question. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, see, Ovi came out and you can say whatever you want about the Washington Capitals, but they fall to stuff like that. Now, Ovi is a little different because if there's any guy that seems to be able to turn it on and off like that, it's probably Ovi. You know, it's probably Ovi. He's a pretty intense dude. But Washington, like, there's two teams in the league that are, well, two teams that are good enough to do this, I suppose, that play down to their competition too often. Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. And I don't know about Tampa. I haven't thought about it. But the Washington Capitals have a tendency, I find, to like have a little friendlies with their teammates on the other side that they used to play with, or Russians, or whatever, countrymen, or whatever the case may be. And that seems to be the case. Anyways, it appears that it is that way. So I don't know. There's guys that can turn it on and off, but there's a lot of guys that can't. And I would rather, you're playing for the majority of your team. I would say the majority of the team is not going to be able to turn on and off the hate for the opposition. Some people just don't have it. Some players just don't have it. They don't get it. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. Those players, I don't want on my team. And Char is a hard one not to do. And the thing is, the fans want it. And that's the reason why it's never going to probably stop. The fans want the tributes because they want to celebrate their old team. But personally, if I'm a fan, me as a fan, if like Ryan Smith were coming back in the day for the Edmonton Oilers, I would be perfectly fine that they don't give him a tribute. If they do give him a tribute, maybe after the game is over. How about do the tribute after the game, not before the game? And all the fans that are there, but I'll tell you why that won't happen is because the fans that have to go or whatever are going to say they missed the tribute. So you're not going to change it. You're going to have to work a way to still dislike the guy, even when you, like, I don't know. There's probably no way to solve the problem. There's probably no way to solve the problem. Was there other news today? Stützle is now in protocol. Almost everybody on the Ottawa Senators have been put in protocol, or at one time this year. Crazy. Schenn and Parayko. Schenn, Parayko, and Perron are placed in COVID protocol. So that lineup's getting depleted. Malkin comes back tonight, and I guess we'll talk about the games from last night. There was only 2, and then maybe we'll do some predictions today. So the Bruins and the Capitals last night. Fucale, he had a really good run there, and he just got absolutely destroyed. One of your favorite players not an Oiler? What do I think of the Preds tonight? I wasn't surprised if they won that game. But we'll get into that when we're doing, because we're going to do some predictions today. But I wouldn't be surprised if he won that game. They won that game. How come they didn't? They did it all different now. Oh, that's Game Center. That's why box score. The Bruins were just all over Washington last night. They had nothing. And that's the thing about the Bruins. Like, they're the type of team that plays never give up hockey. Connor Sheary had 2. Taylor Hall had a beautiful top. Was it Taylor Hall that scored that goal? Oh, it wasn't Taylor Hall? I could have swore that was last night. Oh, Eric Hall must have tipped it. But I like the way they've set up their lines now in Boston. Craig Smith on the top line is great. He got a goal last night, but it was actually with Lazar and Belid. He was on a line with David Pastrnak, potted one. Marchand got his 16th. That leadership on that team is, second to none, really. They got a lot of people out. Their depth really isn't that great, but they just keep on rolling. It doesn't even, kind of doesn't even make sense how they do what they do, to tell you the honest truth. They had Jay Moore, like at the last second last night, I believe, who was it? The 2 defensemen. No, Foligno and DeBrusque were taken out of the lineup, I think. Something like that. Or no, it was COVID, so he wasn't. There was 2 defensemen. Who were they? Because Jay Moore and Vakanainen had to go in. And they didn't miss a beat, like not even a beat. And those 2 guys are not like that great. Grzelcyk had 5 points. Wow, that was the biggest point production he's had in a very long time. But Washington didn't look good. Fucale didn't look good. I mean, the whole game was just not a good game for Washington at all. We'll see if they're able to pick it back up. They kind of went in a bit of a downturn here. If you remember, I had Washington missing the playoffs this year. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But I'm telling you, their lineup is pretty darn thin. Like, it wouldn't take much for injuries and stuff, but they keep on going. They keep on using Prodas, McMichael, who is looking like a good young player, but I don't know if he's really ready to be in the lineup right now. And, defense with Ferrari and Jensen and Schultz is nothing that great. And goaltending hasn't been great, but they keep on rolling along. However, not last night. Boston absolutely smoked them. If I were a GM, which NHL player would you give a tribute to this season? Probably Thornton, I guess. Braden Holtby tribute in Washington? I don't think so. I don't know, maybe. He didn't leave under the best of terms there in Washington, but I mean, I guess they would put that behind them, and they could. He did win a cup with them and stuff like that. The Avalanche game, I watched a lot of this game, and the Avalanche were just playing around the first two periods. I had Avalanche PL as my free pick. I wasn't like super high on that pick, but and it didn't come in. But like I'll tell you what, if Colorado plays against Nashville like they did against Seattle in the first two periods, Nashville's going to ruin them, especially with Kemper in net, because Kemper really hasn't had a strong season so far. But Seattle was just shooting from everywhere. That's really what they're doing now. I don't like what they're doing. I mean, if you're going to be a team that basically looks like a rebuild team, I like what Detroit does, and they set up to be a skilled team. Even though they know they're going to lose, they play like they're going to be a skilled team. And I don't like what's happening here with Seattle. They play like they're trying to win the best they can, and I don't think that's a very good thing to do when you got a lineup that is probably going to be traded away, because you're supposed to be building. They're supposed to be building an identity there. What is Seattle's identity? Yeah, they work hard, I guess, but you know your overall identity is going to be you get into like anywhere near a decent spot and you try to shoot it. That's not a very good identity to me. And that may be why Giordano is oh my gosh, Peyton on the radio just messaged me. What? So Peyton on the radio, Peyton just came on and said that if the Oilers pick up Kane, he messaged us in a group that the Oilers are not making the playoffs no matter what. Just Peter Angelo got no tribute from Vegas. Hey, there's a good example. From St. Louis. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Berube would not like those tribute stuff. He's not a guy that's going to like the tribute stuff. I tried it later. I thought maybe I'd have some more people in here, but obviously we're not getting more people in here. So, which is really odd. I thought that if I started later, there'd be more people on. But if I were to do it regular at this time, I imagine there would be. Last time we did it, I'm trying to do it. I have an opportunity to now do it different times and see if more people will come around. Oh yeah, Lidstrom named president of hockey operations or vice president of hockey operations or whatever the case may be. I mean, great mind. I imagine if Stevie Eisman's doing it, then it's a good thing. Just having him around for a lot of the players they're going to have, he can be a voice of, like, you know, how do you argue with what Lidstrom is telling you? You tell him basically what you want things to be like, and he can just walk around and talk to young players and say, hey, you know what, this is what we're doing. Trust me on this one. I just happen to be possibly, you know, top 3 best defenseman of all time. Maybe I know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, Colorado finally got it figured out in the third. Did win in regulation, but the first 2 periods, they were trash. Well, I will be going back to my regular time. Yeah, I don't know. I might be able to be on it. I'm not sure. So, anyways, Colorado put it away eventually. Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad. Like I said, I'm not so sure Kane is such a bad idea. If that's what you're talking about. But I don't know. I'm not talking to the guy. I don't know what he's done ever since he's left and, you know, did whatever he's done. I don't know. For $2 million, if it appears that he has really focused himself back into being a better person and all those sort of things like that, I think it's worth a shot. $1.5 million. I'm having an argument with Peyton right now. Peyton doesn't like it at all. He needs defensemen. This is the Oilers. I don't know if they can get a defenseman. What defenseman? I don't know if they can get a defenseman. And if you can't get a defenseman, you might as well be able to outscore the opposition. You're not going to be in my streams at all anymore, Oilers, man? Why? What's going on with you now? Or are you just not going to be there tomorrow? I don't know. If you have a good reason, you have a good reason, dude. Look into at Pearloism. What do you mean? What's that all about? Oh, tomorrow. Okay. Well, okay. Well, if you got a good reason, that's cool. Well, of course he did. He's an addict that probably didn't get the COVID thing because he to can this is the way somebody like this would think that's got a gambling problem. He doesn't want to gamble anymore. He probably told himself, there people that have a problem like this don't want to have the problem. Okay, this is the reason why he was a miserable guy in the room. If you're an addict like that, you're going to be a miserable dude, pretty much most of the time, or at least an emotional basket case where you're up and down and stuff like that. So more than likely, I would say Kane didn't get the shot to play with his mind to convince himself that if I do that, I'm not going to be so stupid to go to the casino. So I'm not going to get the shot because I'm not going to risk that, right? Of course not. It's like you're playing a game with yourself that if I make it really difficult for me to go, then I'm not going to go. But it's not what's going to happen. It's for sure not going to happen that way. And he got the bug and he was like, okay, just one time. Just one time. And how am I going to get there? And then his mind starts reeling. How am I going to get there? Okay, I'll get somebody to send me the thing, or I'll fake the card or whatever, and I'll go off and I'll do it. And it'll just be one time and it'll be fine. And then. And it was probably lots of times, but they only caught him this one time. That's what I think probably happened. So yeah, he lied, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. If you're like I said, if you're an addict, you're gonna lie. There's no doubt about that. Oh, your birthday tomorrow. Cool. Welcome, man. That's awesome, man. Birthday for Oilers, man. Woo! Okay. Well, we're doing predictions, but everybody's gone. Finally, our last game from last night. Kings versus Rangers. Kings were all over the Rangers last night. Just plain and simple. The Rangers didn't have any juice left in the legs at all. And the Kings are going to beat teams like that. McClellan's got that team playing hard every night. Peterson, the good news for them is Peterson had a good night. They really need that guy to turn it around and get on the right path. Huge for them. They outshot him 39-23. Philip Danault potted a nice one last night for Moore. Moore's having a career year, by the way. He is playing fantastic there in LA. Blake Lizotte from Arvidsson, and again Moore, 17 points this season for Moore. And then Adrian Kempe potted his 16th man. They are getting better and better every year, every time I watch them. And I think they could be in a buying mode at the deadline, but not for I don't think it would be for a rental. Somebody with term, I think they'd strongly consider it. Not necessarily because they think they are a contender, but I think it's time to. I think it might be time for them to start building on top of their youth, or at least they think it is, anyways. LA is getting to a point where they're going to be a team that is right in the middle of the pack, and rebuild is not a good. You're not rebuilding anymore when that's the case. Now you're in time to get better mode. So I could see them doing that at the deadline here. Oh, what are we going to watch? Tampa Bay, we got Tampa Bay and Buffalo coming on. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm going to change this to, we're going to do kind of a live stream thing. Who do I think? That's a good one to do. Who do I think wins the awards? Like the Vezina and all that? Yeah, the Sabres game is Jack Quinn's debut. And he's been eating it up in the AHL right now. The awards, that's a good question. The Norris, it's got to go to Makar. I think it's going to go to Makar every year now. What do you think, Lauren? What do you guys think for the Norris? What do you guys think for the Norris? I think it's got to be Makar. Makar for the Norris. Yeah, you can pretty much, as long as Makar stays healthy, it's going to be Makar for the Norris for a while. I mean, Victor Hedman, I just can't see. Makar's numbers are too strong, and you know how they like the numbers. Vezina, the Vezina. Well, I mean, Vasilevsky's got to get his head out of his butt. He hasn't been good the last 2 games. I think right now it's got to be, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, it's got to be Shesterkin. The Rangers are nothing without Shesterkin. Like, they're seriously done. The Rangers don't make the playoffs without Shesterkin for sure. Lehner, he's not even having a great year, buddy. Lehner's not even having a great year, I don't think. He's been kind of shaky. I thought Gibson, but he's kind of falling off. I think that has more to do with the whole team is falling off. But it was Markstrom early, but I mean, he's kind of got lit up a couple times now. What is he sitting at? 2.15 and a 9.26, still pretty solid. What's Shesterkin at? Like, Shesterkin has been just stupid, really. The problem is that he's been out a little bit. He hasn't maybe played enough games. .09 and a .93. Yeah, it's Shesterkin. It's got to be Shesterkin. Yeah, Raymond for the Calder. I would actually give it to the defenseman there in Detroit. Oh, Campbell is another one, yeah. Campbell, but I think Shesterkin's got to have it. I mean, he has just been the lights out. I think you could make a case that Toronto could win with a lesser goaltender. Sider, yeah. Raymond will probably get it, but I think if you ask the people in Detroit, they would say Sider has been the more valuable player. Sider is Sider's a guy that may give Makar a run for his money for some Norses down the road, maybe. But he's something else, that guy. What, that for the leading scorer? I don't know, either Draisaitl or McDavid, probably. I don't even know who is like way up there in this. Isn't like Kadri could be close to that, isn't it? Or oh wait a sec, the President's Trophy is the team that finishes with the most points. What am I talking about? Uh, I I think see when Vegas comes back, I think them being in that poor division, they'll probably win it. But Colorado's rolling over people pretty good right now. So any word? I don't know. I haven't heard how long Tarasov is out for. What about the Selke? Selke Trophy's tough. The de facto is always Bergeron if there's nobody out there, but I don't think he's going to get it this year. Maybe Kopitar gets another one. They give another one to Kopitar. Kopitar has been insane this year. Barkov has been injured. I mean, those are the guys that are going to be in there almost every year. Barkov again for the Selke. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to push him up in Florida to be like a superstar. Andrew Brunette? Oh, Jack Adams. I think Sullivan. He probably won't get it. Sullivan, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if Evison will get it because Hines. Yeah. Yeah, there's a good one. Hines. Hines will probably get it in Nashville. He has done a freaking phenomenal job there in Nashville. Trying to think who else it could be. Dave Tippett. I think Berube should get some talk, but he won't win it. Maybe McClellan. Oh, it was Sutter. Sutter will probably still be in the conversation, but I don't think you can go. I think you're right. I don't think you can go away from Hines as it stands right now, the way it's going. The anti-Jack Adams, yeah, Dave Tippett. The anti-Jack Adams. Yeah, I'm sharing this around. I was really surprised you didn't have more people into this. I'm hoping as much as I'm an Oilers fan, but I really hope Obi wins. I want Obi to win that to beat Wayne Gretzky, and I think even Wayne Gretzky does. Maybe Matthews, yeah. But I don't know. Like what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Obi. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time. I don't think that's gonna stop anytime soon. We almost got the games. What games are you guys watching tonight? What games you guys got on tonight? I got Lightning Buffalo on right now. Carolina Philly, of course, is not on. Chicago Columbus. Probably you guys won't be able to watch that one. Can you watch anything, Lauren? Oh, really? Tampa and Buffalo is starting right now. So Tampa's got to have this game, right? Like, it's always scary with Tampa because they play down to their opposition so much. It drives me freaking crazy. Them and the Washington Capitals. You don't have ESPN Plus, okay? So I guess you can hang out here and listen to me talk about Tampa Bay, Washington, and also the Chicago game. I'll be flying. I'll be going between that. Change the title there. Uh, from what Kucherov is back in the lineup. For Buffalo, they got a couple guys that are out now. Yeah, Jack Quinn makes his first appearance because Alex Tuck is out, Peyton Krebs is out, Kyle Okposo is out, Casey Middlestad is out again. Out for how long is he out for? Unknown. They don't even know. The guy's hurt more than it's too bad. Tage Thompson is out. I mean, Tampa should absolutely destroy this game. And you watch, Tampa Bay is going to do what they normally do and play down to their opposition. Almost always, when they play teams that they should be beating hands down every time, they come out soft. They don't play hard. Just about every time. It's pretty bad. They've done it to me over and over and over again. I don't know what you think over time that they would get it through their heads to play the same against everybody they're playing, but it doesn't appear to be the case. They just can't do it. I don't know if they party beforehand against, it's only Buffalo, and they just barely win the game or they lose the game. But then when they play against a team like Toronto, they're balls out for it. So yeah, I mean, it's looking like a really interesting pick for them to get Jack Quinn for sure. Because they could have had Rossi, and everybody was freaking out that they didn't pick Rossi or what's his name, the goaltender there for the Preds, or there was a lot of guys available there, and he's been crushing it in the AHL. It looks like they might have known what they were talking about because he's doing really, really well in the AHL right now. He's playing as a left winger. I thought he was a righty normally, but he's got 26 points in 20 games with 12 goals. Those are stellar numbers in the AHL for a guy who's 20 years old. 8th overall, 2020. And, I mean, they picked him up ahead of a lot of really solid talent that was available at the time. Raised a lot of eyebrows when they picked Jack Quinn in that spot. And it looks like it's paying off, man. It's going to be fun to watch him play tonight. That being said, I still think that without a doubt, Tampa Bay's got to crush this game. They got most of their players back now. I think McDonough, I don't know if McDonough finally was able to play or not. But even if not, like Vasilevsky, ever since the break, Vasilevsky has not played his best. And that's what's kind of worrying me about this game is, Vass has got to turn it around tonight. And he probably will. It's just weird. You don't normally see Vasilevsky struggle ever. It's usually that Tampa Bay doesn't play worth a darn in front of him, and he either bails them out or, they lose the game because of that. It's never because of Vasilevsky. So, but playing against Buffalo at home, on paper, this should be not even hardly a competition, but you can be rest assured. We'll see. We'll see. Tampa Bay is going to come full out on this or not. It's just been so many times that they've not lived up to what they are when they're playing teams like this. The computer on the Odds Shark has Buffalo winning this game. The Tampa Bay are 11-5 straight up in their last 16 games. They are 7-1 straight up in their last 8 games against Buffalo. So Buffalo is not one of the teams that they usually cave at with. I believe Detroit is, though. Detroit, they do a lot. So I don't know why the computer has Buffalo in on here, except for maybe that Tampa Bay has just been... They lost to Boston 5-2. That was a bad loss. And then before they won against Columbus, who had poor goaltending, and Calgary, who also had Vladar in at that time, they got back-to-back. They got beat back-to-back against Shesterkin and the Rangers, and against Florida, but they also had really bad goaltenders in at that time as well. So I think they turn it around here tonight, get themselves back the ship righted, and start going on a bit of a run. I would hope so, anyways. I would hope so. Well, yeah, we know I've had said it at Tampa Bay in the regular season are very frustrating sometimes. Very frustrating sometimes. So Luukkonen, 2-4-2, 2.61 with a .92 save percentage, will be in for Buffalo. He's looked really good. 22-year-old kid that they've been grooming for, since he was 18 years old. Hasn't looked. I don't think he's looked bad in a single game so far. And Vasilevsky. This is going to be a huge. Imagine being Luukkonen and you're going up against probably what is considered the greatest goaltender of all time. Huge game for him. All right, puck drop. Tampa Bay wins it. Oh, I looked like that was going to be an icing right off the bat. The big thing we're watching out here for is the legs of Tampa Bay, starting first period. Yeah, making sloppy moves already to start that. Like, what was that? Bjork is playing with Eakin and Hayden. Oh, I forgot to. I wanted to look at this. Who the lineups are. Bryson and Miller, Pishik. I mean, that defense should get destroyed by Tampa Bay. Absolutely destroyed. I don't care if they're on the road or not. They got to be winning this one. Palat with Point and Kucherov. Killorn, Stamkos, and Cirelli. They're playing Cirelli on the wing. Bellemare, Perry, and Maroon. That's a great third line on paper. Colton is playing on the fourth line now. That's a super deep team. Sergachev and Chernak. Foot and Bogosian. I mean, Buffalo can't compete with this lineup at all. The only way Tampa Bay loses this game is if they mail it in themselves. Oh, Tampa scores. That's what I don't understand here. Hey, who's in there? Watching Tampa Bay Buffalo right now. Tampa Bay scores already. They should be absolutely destroying this game.